I know by now you would have watched that video that I posted on my page about the Bini guy talking about how whether 5 or 6 classes of human being they have in the ancient Bini kingdom. If you have not watched it, go down to my page. 2 or 3 of them, you see the video I'm talking about. I couldn't react to the video the day I saw it, but because I don't have time, I'm working. But now I'm free, I want to react to the video. After the abolishment of slave trade internationally, it is wrong for anyone to call his fellow human being slave. And it's not only Benin. Even the Igbos also abolished the Osu or Oshu. You know what I mean? Yeah, we used to have Oshu or Osu. So it has been abolished everywhere in the world. It is a crime to call a fellow human being slave. So what the guy is saying in that video is what they practice prior to the abolishment of slave trade. But I think after the abolishment of slave trade in the early 18th century, it is no more in existence. If they are doing it now, they are still hiding to do it. However, there are still classes of people that existed. There are so many things we need to bring out as a fact from that video. I know many of you will believe it, some of you will not believe it, but I will still be here to be telling you the truth. First thing first, in the Bini history, Bini has never for one day point finger to our progenitor to be a slave. Let me officially introduce myself. My name is Chukwuemeka Kogolo. I'm Monyo Nuchubo in Aniocha North Local Government of Delta State. Nwanyoma, Diokbala Ezechime. Ezechime used to be our ancestor. The Bini history has not in anywhere called Ezechime a slave. They rather say he's a runaway prince named Ehime, corrupt to Ezechime. Or they will say he's an Igbo man who came to their place, married their daughter, and when problem exists, he returned back. So if that is true, that will let you know that we, the Anyomas, using Ezechime as a point of contact has nothing to do with the Benin. But we understand that in the ancient time, when you go to war with a people, either you conquer them or you capture their soldiers, you turn them to slaves. So that's what happened there. And the only way you can execute them if you don't release them to go back home is to offer them as a sacrifice. So that is exactly what the guy is explaining there. Now, for some of you that come and say Igbo people mean slave because of what the guy said, it doesn't mean that Igbo word means slave. In the ancient time, there's no English, so how can they translate that Igbo word is slave? Meanwhile, in their language, they know what they call slave, which is ovie, or how the guy pronounce it, ovie or whatever I call it. You heard him saying it, oviama, or whatever I call it. So Igbo or Igbon does not mean slave. But I know that some of you don't have understanding. Today in the world, the blacks are seen as inferior. Does it mean that blacks are inferior? No. But because of over the time, the white who see us as slaves, feeling superior, makes us feel like we are inferior. So today when they see a black person in a position that's supposed not to be, they feel like there's an inferior person handling that position. The same thing, because over the time they're taking our people and use it as a sacrifice, they feel like, oh, the people they are seeing as slaves. Once you say it's your Igbo, you say, and our slave, this one. That does not mean that Igbo means slave. We are explaining this thing and I've shown you a dictionary definition of what Igbo means. Ndibo, Ndibo, Ndibo. It is there. I can post it for you. You see it. Another point I need you to understand is that it is apparently true that we have been existing in this land we call Anyoma even before the Benin came. And that's why it's a very shameful thing, because the car can trace their progenitors thousands of years, but Binu is less than 1,000. Binu is still under 900 years existence. The Oba lineage is still under, but the car has gone beyond 1,000. But you will see some car claiming they are descendant of Benin. Now, what comes about being descendant when they see you first as a slave? After the abolishment of slave trade, there is a need to constantly change what they used to call you. Now, during the time of the Benin overseeing empire, due to the Portuguese empowering them to use their power to capture some people for the Portuguese to sell as slave trade, they saw it as a viable business. But when the slave trade was abolished, in order to retain you under them, in order to subdue you under them, in order for them to still be collecting tax, royalty to their urban throne, they quickly changed the story from slavery to descendants, so that it will, you see, these things are done over years, and now it becomes true. That's why they say that if lie persists, it becomes true. And when truth confronts lie, it became rebellion. That is what happened. Common sense, even if they don't tell you story, you must understand from event of the day what is happening. You know? But you see, as we are trying to explain these things, some people will still come and say, Igbo people, you don't have history. That is why you always concentrate on talking about Benin history. No. The problem you have in the world today is that a peaceful person is regarded as a person that does not amount to anything. Yes. In the entire world, the most peaceful nation is Switzerland. But you hardly see anybody talking about anything great about Switzerland. But yet, Switzerland is so great that even every world power or world organization has their office in Switzerland. If you have a neighbor that he and the wife and the children are living peacefully, you don't have time to gossip them. You don't have time to share anything about them. So I don't know these kind of people. They are so quiet, you know. Now that one where we say they beat your wife, they beat your children, they shout at will. That is the one you say you have a history or a memo that you can talk about them. If you notice, the Igbos have been a quiet people. That's why up to today, I keep saying it. No single tribe can say Igbo force them to speak their language. All the time you carry that saying, you can't say Igbo force you. No single person will say Igbo conquered us. I've said it time without number. Anytime you hear Igbo go into war, is to defend themselves. Our people in Anyoma there, the combination of Okwani, the Ka, and the Enuani people fought a war for 31 years against the British government. Ayekumeku. What are we fighting for? To protect our land. We didn't fight it to extend it to colonize the Britain. No, to protect our land, that we don't want a white man subduing us. For 31 years. The Biafran War is another case that when the Igbos fought in the southeast, they fought that war to protect themselves. They didn't fight it because they want to conquer other people. We will hold our region down. It is apparently. But you see, because the Igbos are quiet from the origin, you say Igbo does not. But you are the one telling the Igbo history by yourself. It's ignorance, you know, that want to make a video of Igbo landing. Igbo people history came out when people started, because they are quiet and they are fractioned by nature. Igbo people live in republican nature where everybody stay on his own. It is not one unit. It's a different unit that come together to become one unit. And in that unit, they live peaceably. You will not hear saying Ansuka they fight Ungwa, or Ungwa they fight Oka, or Oka they fight Udi. No, everybody does on his own. We are not saying there's no inter-tribal clashes, but it's a family thing. But in that case, anybody, when they capture a particular Igbo, because of their quietness, and everybody will not follow and go and kill those people, you will not say Igbo people does not have history. But you are the one sharing the Igbo history. By saying you capture them as slaves. It's not a history. You are telling the Igbo story, how they migrated from Benin. You are still saying they don't have a history. But because in the beginning, before your people start doing atrocity, they are quiet people. How do you share story people that live peacefully? Don't have any story to share. Every breaking news you hear today is about bad things. Apart from few breaking news that bring good news. Once you hear breaking news, it's almost all like you are hearing a bad news. So that Igbos does not, because Igbo does not derive joy in going and conquering people, you are saying Igbo people does not have history. Would they share what they don't do? Would they start telling you what they don't do and fabricating lies? And even you that claim you have history, yet, because of atrocities of your father, you are still fabricating, because the 21st century, when you look into what your fathers did that you call history, is not something you was sharing. That's why you are twinning the story. You turn them from slavery now to descendants, and you want us to believe it. You first call us slave, and later you want to change it to descendants. That's the problem. But we are not gonna continue to be like this. This is information age. And I told you, time will come, the son of the soil, the real Bini people will start telling their story by themselves. I'm out of here, Joe.